Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to today's live. Let me see if I already brought my friend today. Thank you for joining today's live. I am Ronica Brown. If you're catching any of my videos for the very first time, my name is Ronica Brown and I help my clients save anywhere from $5,000 to over $100,000 on their taxes using my tax planning system. Notice I didn't say filing their tax return, because for you to get the big savings on your taxes, you will have to do some tax planning. For today, we're not going to be talking about taxes or tax planning. I have a special guest, Wendy Watkins, and she's a business coach. And since it's a new month, it's August, and we're having to maybe recommit to some of our goals, to revisit things, to basically make sure that all of our goals are on point, our numbers are working out, so that we basically meet our goals for 2019. So what Wendy is going to talk about, she's going to give us some tips to increase our joy factor, because we still have to have fun being entrepreneurs, right? And this joy factor will also help us to increase our productivity. Hey Wendy, I see that you're here. What I'm going to do is to add you now. Let's see. It feels like every time I have to so it says I sent you the request, and I sent you the request, so seems like you have to accept it or something so that I can let you join. Let's see. Probably my instructions were not that good. Oh well. Let me know if you see that popped up on your screen, Wendy. I went ahead and sent the invite back to you. Let's see what's going on. I do not see the invite. Alrighty, let's see. Do you see it now? Hey Sheena, thanks for joining. I just went ahead and resent it, Wendy, so go ahead and check again to see if you see it. Oh, awesome. I just saw it. Okay, awesome. Yay. There's always a bit of a delay. There's always a bit of delay. There's always a bit of delay, but we're here now, so wonderful. Thanks for joining today's live, Wendy.
Thank you for inviting me, Ronica. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you okay. Yeah,
Great.
no, great. And I also wanted to say that, fun fact, so before I started business on my own, I was also a partner. I was in business with two other business partners first. And when it was time to transition from being in business with two other partners to being in business by myself, Wendy, who was a business coach who helped me with all of that, get everything up online. You had, also referred me to a great copywriter, and so thank you so much for that. And now Ronica Brown Agency is up and running for
I
over
know,
4 years
it's
now.
so exciting.
So that was awesome. So that was a joyful transition. Thank you so much. But
You're
good
welcome,
to
Veronica.
have you today. Um, so go ahead and introduce yourself, Wendy.
Well, hi, everybody, and thank you for having me here, Veronica. And congratulations on the Veronica Brown Agency and
Thank
the
you.
Veronica Brown baby.
Oh,
So
thank you.
fun.
You're 7 months now.
Yeah. That's amazing. That's amazing. But yeah, as Veronica mentioned, I am a business coach and a joy strategist because I feel like joy and business go together,
Mm-hmm.
right? And one of the things I know as someone who is a student of positive psychology is there's an actual science behind this, is when you're feeling good, you actually get to do good. So that's what I do. I work as a coach and helping entrepreneurs move from feeling that unfulfilled and overwhelmed to feeling the joy and reaping the benefits of productivity and making the impact they want to make in the world.
Awesome. I love productivity because, a lot of us, struggle with, productivity, whether we want to call it or not. And also the joy. Actually, last night, I was talking to my fiance and we're talking about, people not being, satisfied with their jobs. And I was telling him, as a business owner, you have to learn so much more in order, to continue in business. So you have to at least, like or love what you're doing, whichever one of those words you're going to use. And then that's a completely different thing from the joy factor. So tell me about the joy factor.
Well, the joy factor, I mean, that's just that it's one of those business skills that goes unnoticed, right?
Yes.
People don't, when we talk about business school, or people don't talk about joy as something that is essential in building your business. And just
Mm-hmm.
to create a distinction for people too, right? Because happiness is different than joy.
Right,
Right?
right, right.
Happiness, right? Happiness, we get like, oh my gosh, a cup of coffee in my joy cup. It makes me so happy, right? But when the coffee's gone, the happiness goes away.
Exactly,
The type of
exactly.
joy we're talking about is that sustainable joy, right? When you're
Mm-hmm.
connected to what brings you purpose, passion, and meaning in your life, when you're connected to your community, when you're making an impact and enjoying the things that make you happy, right? So,
Exactly.
and it's a learned skill, right?
Mm-hmm.
Joy is a learned skill. We all come into the world with a different happiness set point, right? And so for those that have not come in, like myself, I didn't come in with a natural happiness set point, but I knew that joy, what I learned from my studies and then from my life experience, is that when we learn how to raise our joy factor, right, that vibration, how
Mm-hmm.
we feel, that it allows us to have sustainable success,
Oh,
right? And
wonderful.
yeah, and to move from that place of being busy to productive, right? To actually producing the results.
Oh, awesome. Thanks for joining, Carol. I was going to say, because, I like that you made a distinction between happy and, mine is at the end of the day, I like to have a chai tea latte from
Mm,
Starbucks. I try not to do it
yum.
every day, because the sugar content is high, right? Yeah,
Yes.
but the joy factor. So I like how you separate those two different things. And I also hear that you say, people have to learn joy. So how does someone go about? I think that's like a different thing for. That's a different thought process for me right now as well. So how does someone go about learning joy?
Yeah, well, and learning not just joy, but sustainable joy, right? The
Sustainable
joy that
joy.
sticks
Yeah.
around. And so it's a process, right? Just like learning everything else, it's a
Mm-hmm.
process. And about 5 years ago, I wrote a book about this called The Joy Factor Recipe Book, A Common Sense Approach to a Delicious Life. And so I'm going to use the metaphor that I used there. And so I believe that life is like a big cookbook, right? And every
Mm-hmm.
day you get to choose a different recipe that you're going to create for the
I,
day,
I yeah.
right? And depending on the quality of the ingredients that you use is going to impact how delicious your day is,
Mm-hmm.
right? When you're cooking at home and you use really good ingredients, it tastes so much better, right? Than using not so good ingredients.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so in the book, what I talk about is one way in this recipe is there are 4 ingredients that help create sustainable joy. That's being connected to what brings you passion, purpose, and meaning. So learning
Mm-hmm.
what your passions are.
Mm-hmm.
Second is about authentic expression. So this is
Authentic.
coming from being you and using
Mm-hmm.
your strengths. The
Mm-hmm.
third is about self-care,
Mm-hmm.
right? And self-care, not just talking about what you eat and what you drink, but how you're
Mm-hmm.
managing your time, the boundaries you have set for yourself, especially as an entrepreneur, right? Because we could work all day and all night, but we've
Exactly.
got to set those boundaries, and that's the
Exactly.
perfect
Mm-hmm.
self-care, and that raises our joy factor. And the fourth is what I call strategic optimism, is having a strategy to increase the hopefulness and confidence that things are going to work out.
Yeah.
So when you weave in those 4 ingredients, and your listeners and yourself may also have other ingredients that they use to raise their joy factor, but these are the 4 ingredients that I weave in so people can experience more sustainable joy.
Awesome. What was the tell me the second one again.
The second one was
I was trying
authentic
to.
expression.
Okay,
Yeah,
authentic
authentic
expression.
expression. And that's where I do a lot of work with people around their strengths, right? Because so often we are looking at overcoming our weaknesses, which is great to learn how to
Mm-hmm.
do new things. But life is so much more fulfilling when you uncover what your strengths are and then intentionally weave them into your days. Just imagine if you got to do everything that you were already naturally strong and good at. It will be a
Awesome.
much more
Awesome.
joyful day. Yeah.
Awesome. The funny when you mention, being connected to the things that, whether it's, hobbies or the things that brings you joy. I don't remember the words that you use. The first one to be being connected to those things. I remember a conversation. I guess one day my fiance, he called me up and was like, you know what? I get to do everything I love each week. And I'm like, tell me about that. I get to, play music. I get to go connect with people. I guess, sometimes it gets to go snowboard. You take trips to go diving. I just do something that I love each week. And I was like,
Yeah. Isn't that beautiful? I know. You're kind of like, wait, how do I do that? But
and
you do do that.
I'm like making this bottle, like, really? So that was just so interesting that I remember that. And I'm like, okay, I need to start incorporating more things that, I love doing during my week. But that was so
Absolutely.
interesting that that works. But and also when it ties into productivity,
Yeah. Yeah.
I think, for me, you know, productivity and, balance, being a new mom and, just trying to figure out what's the right set. I think, I resonated well when you say, the self-care and creating boundaries, because I had to really do that since I didn't
Yeah.
have much more time on my hands to always be in front of my computer as I used to be. And
Yes.
now, I have to create boundaries to know that, it's okay for me, not to be constantly in front of my computer. And then also the strategic optimism. Oh my God. For me, how I use that, I think that would be more so, and you can tell me if this is related to, it's kind of like, when you have a child and all these things that you have in your head of how things should go, like you just have to let them go.
Yeah. Yeah. Typically, you're absolutely right. When any of the shoulds show up, it's always
so,
good to
so
let them go
it's
and to be
always
more open. Yeah. Yeah.
exactly to know that, a towel is a towel, so you may not need to divide the baby towel into going out towel, home towel, and
Yeah.
things like that. So awesome. So thanks for sharing those things. And when it comes to productivity, it's August now, so I was saying that, we lose a lot of productivity and trying to, now is the time to try to gain that back. So
Yes.
how does the joy factor basically feeds in with productivity?
Yeah. Yeah. That's a really good question. You know, I don't know about you, Ronica, but it seems like whenever I meet people and I run into them or old friends and I say, how you doing? The first thing they always say is they're busy. right? Everybody's so busy,
Yes, yes,
right? Busy,
yes,
busy,
yes.
busy.
Mm-hmm.
I came up with an acronym for busy. It's because so many people are. It's like, what does that mean? And I think people are so busy because you say yes, right? If you
Yes.
think about it, right? We
Mm-hmm.
say yes to everything. So one of the ways to start to shift from being busy to productive in a joyful way is paying more attention to what you're saying yes to and what you're saying no to, right? Especially as we're moving into the second half of the year and you have a goal that you're looking to reach, or whether it's a financial goal, the amount of clients you serve, whatever it
Mm-hmm.
is, that you have to start being conscious about the activities and people you're saying yes to. If you're saying yes to them, what are you saying no to? Right? So if you have goals and you want to meet a girlfriend for lunch, right? Or you're saying yes to meeting the girlfriend for lunch, which is a fine thing, but maybe you're saying no to attending a networking meeting that's going to yield you your next client.
Right, right.
It's a conscious choice. You get to say what you want to say, but all I'm inviting people to do is to be more conscious of what you're saying yes to and what you're saying no to. And is that moving you towards the goals and targets that you have set? So that's
Exa-
one thing. Yes.
mm-hmm. And do you think that sometimes it seems like people stay busy because they feel like that's what they're supposed to do? They're supposed to be busy because, I can remember, some of the things that I was working on that I was like thinking, what the heck was I doing?
Right, right. And I think two things happen. I think people fill their calendar with busy times because they really don't know the right activities that they should be
Right.
doing.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. It's like,
So
why did I do this?
yeah, it's kind of like
Right.
driving around 285 and not knowing what exit to get off of, right? You
Mm-hmm.
just keep going around and around. But let me set up this other meeting. Let me set this up. Where meanwhile, you need to be networking and having conversations with people, having sales conversations, and also having the time to service your clients. Right. So it's finding that balance of when you're working on your business and when you're working in your business and what you're saying yes to and what you're saying no to.
So more focus time.
Focus. And that's such a key thing, is focus. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that's where business owners really start to lose, because there's so many shiny objects. And like you said earlier, the things we think we should do,
Right, right, right.
it's having that clarity and staying focused.
You
Yes.
know, I think being pregnant and getting into maternity. I think that's what shift my perspective on busy and being focused, because it's kind of like I had no choice but to be focused, or else I would not get anything done.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
so I think that's helped me to shift my, because I knew that you have a young baby, you want to spend as much time as possible, with your baby. So how do I incorporate business? And I realized that I had to basically focus on doing only the things that I needed to do, nothing else.
Yeah.
Nothing
Yeah.
else. And that's when I started realizing, like, oh my god, like what I've been doing all is like, what's all this madness? But anyways.
But it's key. I mean, you're not alone in that, whether you have a baby or not.
Yeah.
It's easy to get sidetracked. And that's why having a very clear plan of knowing what you're going to be doing each week,
Yeah.
what you want to accomplish and what the activities are, is key. And then from there, you have the freedom and flexibility to weave in free time
Free.
and the things you want to do. But
Mm-hmm.
it's knowing what you want to do there that will let you accomplish the goals. Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. Is
Now,
there?
the other thing that comes up, I got to tell you, is that then people will say, well, I'm not good at time management. I'm not good at managing my time. Well, here's the thing, is that, can you even manage time? I don't think you can. There are 24 hours in a day. We all have the same 24 hours. It's really more about you management,
Exactly, exactly,
right? It's
exactly. The time is already
managing
set, right?
you. Yeah,
Exactly.
it's
Oh,
managing
wow.
you and your priorities. So when you know what your priorities are and making sure that that's connected to your big why, like why you're doing what you're doing, so that you get that great return on your investment, not just financially, but from the heart, because you're living your purpose, then it's easier to start to manage you and make choices according to what's right for your business and what's not.
Awesome, awesome. I see Taisha, Tisha, or sorry if I mess your name up. How do you obtain your goals if you requires funds? You know, I guess that you'd have to go out there and trying to get connected with people that's gonna help you get funded. So I guess that's
Wait. What was the question, Ronica?
how do you obtain your goals if you require funds? I'm thinking that's money funds, like getting funded.
Well, that's a good question for you. I mean, for me, there's like two or three options, right? Put a business plan together and get a loan, get a zero interest credit card and work the plan, or take a loan. I mean, business owners, this is one of the things that I know you know about this, is that yes, it's very easy to start a business, but there
Right.
does have to be money there,
It is,
right?
there
And
does
so, and you're not going into debt because you have to invest into your business, right? So
mm-hmm,
just
mm-hmm.
as importantly as you have to invest in your business, you have to invest in you, right? And
Exactly,
that's where the
exactly,
joy piece
exactly,
comes in. You can find the
exactly.
money. There's money everywhere,
Right,
right? I
right,
mean,
right,
there's
right.
money
Mm-hmm.
everywhere. It's just a
Right.
matter of having a clear plan, knowing what you want, having a good investor or taking a loan out, and then working the business plan that allows you to return that money on the investment. Then it's not a debt. If you have no plan to pay back your investment, then it's debt. But when you have a plan, it's investment, right? Wouldn't you
Exactly, exactly. And if you're, talking about funding in terms of getting, people to be have equity stake in your business, then you're gonna have to spend your focus time trying to network with those people so that you can understand the steps to take to, I guess, get their money from them.
Yes. Yeah.
um, but
Yeah.
anyway, so thank you for watching, Taisha Bryant. So the next thing I wanted to, ask you, Wendy, about, people spending so much time, because I remember, when we're working together, it's like, I guess because, I had so much guidance, it saved me so much time from just like spinning my wheels and, just doing stuff I was not supposed to do. So I think that that's also, something, getting that help,
Yes.
that you needed in those moments that you needed help, because I was still managing clients from the previous business, and then now I need to create a whole new business, a whole new branding and everything. So that was super helpful with your guidance in that. So is there anything else that I did not ask you about that you wanted to share about increasing your joy factor and for productivity?
Yeah. Well, one of the ways to um, raise your joy factor, the first thing you have to do is know where you are, right? To know where your joy factor is. So some people know where it is, some people don't. And if you're interested where it is, especially in alignment with the ingredients that I shared earlier,
Mm-hmm.
then you could visit my website, wendywatkins.com, and there's a free joy quiz there.
Oh,
So that's
nice.
one great way to go take the quiz at wendywatkins.com, and that will then give you where your joy factor is and then some tools to start to raise your joy factor. So that's the
Wonderful.
first step.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is, and this is a tool, it's a very simple tool for entrepreneurs that will help you raise your joy factor. So typically at the end of the day, business owners or even employees, it doesn't matter, people at the end of the day reflect on their day as they're driving home or walking down the stairs, as I do, short reflection
Yeah,
time.
yeah, yeah.
However, it's still reflection time. And most people think about all the things that they didn't accomplish, right? Because the to-do list is
That's
never
that,
done. I don't
that's
know about
right, right, right,
yours,
right, right,
right? My
right.
to-do list is never done. So instead of spending that very important reflection time on thinking about what you didn't get done, I invite you to ask yourself this question. What went well today? Well, when you it's first of all, it starts to shift the neural pathways in your brain, because the first time you ask yourself that, you're going to be like, I remember when I asked Matt that the first time when he gets home from work, because he gets home, he drives an hour, he commutes. So I was
Yeah.
asking him, how was your day, honey? And he would, we would just go down the rabbit hole about traffic and the idiot on the road and the jerk at work.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Then
yeah.
right? Then I started asking him what went well, and he kind of gave me the Scooby Doo look, like, what? What do you mean what went well? your brain starts to think
Start
different
thinking.
things.
Mm-hmm.
So you start to feel better about what went well. It starts to build your confidence, which then allows you to shift into that place of positivity and doing more things well.
Awesome,
So if
awesome.
there's one thing, so you can take the joy quiz, start asking yourself every day what went well. And it's also a really beautiful dinner time conversation if you have children, because it starts getting them to put their attention on what went well. And what we put our attention on expands, right? So you get
Mm-hmm.
more of what went well instead of
Exactly.
thinking of all the things that don't go well.
Okay. I think that I'm gonna start doing that again. I think that I had started and then I haven't done it in a while, so I'm gonna
Yeah, it
start doing
happens.
that while I'm having my reflection moment instead of like
Yeah.
looking at the list that you have to do tomorrow to see what went well today. Awesome.
Yes, yes.
Anything else?
Well, the last thing is, everybody needs a little bit of inspiration and motivation, even myself, there are
Exactly.
things. And so, just like Ronica does her Facebook Lives, I do them as well every week at 9 a.m. I do a Joy Jam. And so we
I
just
like that.
meet. Same thing, about 15, 20 minutes. Sometimes I have a guest, sometimes I don't. And it's all about sharing tips and tools and courses and
Mm-hmm.
resources to support you in having more joy. So, come get a little midweek boost with me. That would be another thing that you could do.
Wonderful, wonderful. And if you guys want to go ahead and take the joy quiz, you said it's on your website, right? To find out
Yes.
at what level joy you are and how you can start increasing that. So the tools are also, on your website once they take the quiz.
Yep.
Yes,
Yeah, they'll get
awesome.
it in the email, and I'll go ahead and pop those after we wrap up. I'll go ahead and put those links on the comments if that's
Okay,
okay.
wonderful, wonderful.
Perfect.
That will be
Perfect.
great. So thank you so much for joining me today, Wendy. You have gave me also an exercise that I need to start back doing. I do have the book and I do remember used to do that. So I think that now I need to start using that to wrap up my days because evenings are like crazy in my house,
Sure,
from like,
sure.
getting baby to bed and then so the time they get to breathe is like what a long day. So it's what
Yeah,
went
you have
well.
two jobs now. You have a
Exactly.
career
So
and a family. That's
ex-
two
ex-
big things. So,
exactly.
yeah.
So I want to so I need to start saying what went well in order to decrease I guess the level of brain activity that I have to shift my brain activities. So awesome. So thank you so much. So we're gonna go ahead and post a link to the joy quiz so that you guys can check it out if you're looking to increase your joy factor for the rest of 2019 and also increase your productivity in your business. So that's it for today. Thank you so much, Wendy.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me, Ronica.
Take
Bye,
care. Have a
everybody.
good day.
Uh-huh.
Bye bye.
You too. Bye-bye.